All right. We are live. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead, Sarah. You take this.
Okay, sorry. It sounded like you were doing a great welcome. You guys, welcome. Oh yeah, you are. You should dance. That would be great. You guys, welcome to our Challenger Zoom tonight. It is the beginning of February. It's February 9th. I have a kid turning 11 tomorrow, and I can't wrap my head around it. I had a kid turn 13 the other day. Not old enough to have a 13-year-old. It's insane. And now she walks around with a black hoodie with her like hand stuffed in her pocket. And it just so happens that she got it for Christmas, so she wears it because she's excited about it. But I feel like it's entirely too cliche. Like my house is a walking cliche now. My name is Sarah Kroger. I wanted to welcome you to the call tonight. I am one of the coaches on our team. It's the beautiful thing that we can come together. You do hear a pig snorting. I have a house pig, and I moved seats for the call, and so she has to get resettled. So you're not losing your mind. You really do hear that. I am one of the coaches on our team, and I love that we can all come together on Sunday nights as a bigger like team versus just in our individual challenge groups. And so welcome, especially to those of you that I don't know. And I'm glad that you're sharing this evening with us. I do wanted to give you just one little logistical pitch. We typically do a product focus at the beginning of every one of these calls just to kind of tell you about things that are available in our, because the catalog of what we have available to us is too big for you to all get in one fell swoop. But I wanted to just do a little bit of a pitch tonight for our nutrition programs. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Not a lot, because most of you probably have already homed in on that. But if you are not following 2B Mindset or the Ultimate Portion Fix, you really need to talk to your coach. And regardless of what your entry goal was when you joined this challenge group, regardless of what it is that you, the reason why you joined, everybody needs to have a focus on their nutrition. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why. But the two options that we have available to us as standalone nutrition programs are top notch. And frankly, they don't compete with each other. They really just have a focus and a feel that's a little bit different based on what it is that you want to focus on or the way that you're wired and things like that. I have done them both. They both work. I am a bunny. I definitely fell in love with 2B Mindset because I didn't want to measure. And I felt like I could do anything I wanted on 2B Mindset. That's not really 100% true, but it felt more that way to me. It felt more freeing, and it felt good for me to work on my relationship with food. And some people are the exact opposite, and they really want to know exactly how much and of what, and show me the lists and let me pick and choose, and it fits in my container so I can have it, and there takes out the guesswork. So you just have to talk to your coach about which of the two nutrition programs really serves you best, and commit to that. But I don't want you to get caught up in well, how will I know which one is better? Because they don't compete with each other. And at the end of the day, if you were to compare the food log from somebody who follows Ultimate Portion Fix and somebody who follows 2B Mindset, you're going to see so many similarities. Their day might be organized a little bit differently, and their food journal is going to look a little bit different, because when you're looking at 2B Mindset, you're focused on how you're building your plate. And in 2B Mindset, you're focusing on which number of containers you have at each meal. So your log might be color-coded a little differently, but the actual foods that you're eating, it's going to look so much the same, and you're going to get comparable results. It's not like you are sacrificing results based on one versus the other. It really just, and we have people on our team who follow one and some follow the other. So like Elizabeth is really in love with the containers, and Angie's really in love with the containers, and I am so very much in love with 2B Mindset. And so you just have to really talk to your coach, and they can walk you through which one is the best fit for you based on like temperament and habits and what you like to focus on. But that's just my plug for really committing to your nutrition program, regardless of where you are in your journey. But the main thing I want to talk to you about tonight really is, this is a new month. And we're going to set yourself up for success and talk a little bit about how to get your family on board. Because whether you're brand new or you've been doing this for months, the answer is the same. Every single month, you need to look at what you're doing. You need to look at what's working and what's not. Whether you're a coach who's been doing this for 5 years, or this is your very first Challenger Zoom because this is your very first challenge and you just joined us. You have to start from a place of knowledge. It's not a place of condemnation. It's not a place of shame and loathing. It is a place of self-knowledge. And I have to tell you, I was so excited this morning. It's going to sound like a tangent for a second, but bear with me because it's really perfectly appropriate. Today, in between the two church services at our church, we have adult faith formation, and we were talking today about basically the voice of the evil one versus the voice of God. And he was saying that, talking about how you recognize it. And one thing that really stuck out with me was that, you know, God doesn't force shame deep into your soul about who you are. God never does that. And when we are evaluating our journey, the evil one really loves to use our sins against us and pit us against our choices. You know, and here's, you know, you may have made that one good choice, but oh my gosh, you ate a cookie. Well, I had chocolate and wine after dinner and still lost weight this week. So on that, you know, because it's not about that, but your choices never need to be used against you. It's always a tool for learning. And you have to know where you are and where you want to go in order to have really any success in this. So you have to be able to look at what's working and what's not. And you have to be able to be honest with yourself. Because if you're just lying to yourself and saying, oh, I'm doing pretty good, I'm doing pretty well, and you're not writing down what you're eating throughout the day, you're just trying to remember at the end of the day, you are not going to remember how many pieces of pepperoni you popped in your mouth when you were making pizzas with your kids at the end of the day. You're frankly going to forget that you did it altogether. So you have to really know what's working and what's not. You also need to remember why you said yes to this challenge. What is it that drew you in? And it might be a while back, and it might have just happened last week, but why did you say yes? What were you feeling at the moment? Because the other thing that we, just human nature, we do, there's this cycle where you are completely miserable, like struggling to bend over and tie your shoes and you're not 9 months pregnant kind of thing. You know, you're miserable and you're crying in the closet and you've tried on 16 different things for church and you're about to bail on going to church at all because nothing even fits. You don't want to go out on a date. You don't want to do anything but live in stretchy clothes. And you get to this point of just super low. And so you feel motivated to make a change. And you make a change and you escape that utter misery, that complete hopelessness. And then your behavior starts to slide back. And on the way down, I hear this all the time. You ask people about making a change and they're like, well, I just haven't found the motivation, or I'm just waiting for the motivation. Really what that means is they're just happy with the backslide until they hit rock bottom, and then they will feel motivated to make a change. But guys, we don't want you to feel miserable before you start to feel good. You don't have to have, like Kelly said this on a leadership call we just had earlier, you don't have to live a life that's just gray. You don't have to spend this entire time just waiting until it's bad enough that you feel like making a change. It's hard, but you said yes for a reason. Why was that? What did you believe, even for a second, was possible that made you say yes to this? Now, I have to say, if you're on this call, you have not isolated yourself into a hole and totally withdrawn from your challenge group, obviously. But who in your group haven't you seen in a while? Who in your group used to post but kind of disappeared? Because you can see who's in the group. You can click on the number of people and see who it is that's still in the group. What if you went and looked for the name of somebody that you haven't seen posted in a while and you sent them a message to encourage them? What if you went and you invited them to do a workout with you? They don't have to do the same thing as you. They can do their own thing at the same time that you're doing your own thing. What if you tagged them in a post in the group just to see how they were doing? What if you reached out and you were that motivation or that inspiration to somebody else? Because let me just tell you, if you reach out to somebody else, I had somebody tell me recently that you can be the thing that you want to get. And so if it's a hug, if you go on a hug mission and you're going around and giving the amount of love in the hug that you wish someone was giving to you, without sounding too woo-woo about it, it comes back to you. And frankly, we've all seen that commercial, and those of us who were, super emotional at the time that they saw the commercial about, the kid holds the door open for the next person, and then the next person picks up something that the person in front of them dropped, and then the next person, and it snowballs. It's that random act of kindness concept. You could be that for somebody else, and that in turn helps you take the next step on your mission. But like I said a minute ago, when we're talking about success in this journey, because that's what we're here for. This is a health and fitness group, and we're on a call to encourage you and support you in your health and fitness journey, wherever it is that you are. But when we're talking about success in this journey, you have to start with your program. You need to know what program you are doing, and you need to know what day you are on. If you can't tell me what day you're on in your nutrition program videos or what day you're on in your workout program, then I'm going to say this, you have not fully committed to your journey. Now, if you had the flu for 2 weeks and you're like, wait, I got to look at my calendar, that's different. But barring some catastrophe, if you just don't know, and I can say this from experience because there were seasons where I was only half committed, so I only kind of half knew. It was like, well, I know what program I'm doing, but I don't know what day I'm on. I can tell you right now, I'm on week 4, day 3 of Bar Blend, period. I know it. And I had an alternate schedule this past week because of some health issues. I know what video, because I'm rewatching the To Be Mindset videos, I know what video I'm on. I'm getting ready to watch the grocery store video. So it's next. Not because I'm a superhuman who's memorized the schedule, but because you know what you did today and you know what's next. If you don't, you need to get your calendar out. You need to know where you are in your program. And like I said at the top, you need to be following a nutrition program. You need to be following To Be Mindset or Ultimate Portion Fix, or at least using the meal plans that are available through the groups and through other people who are planning and sharing those kinds of things. No matter where you are with your weight, you have to have that focus on your nutrition, because your rough food days just make your workouts harder. And frankly, too much working out works against you. And I know that sounds so strange to hear, like your Beachbody coach be like, well, careful you're not working out too much. Because if you are not fueling your body well, that's why every program has a meal plan that comes with it. Every single program has a nutrition guide that comes with it. Every single program recommends that you're drinking Shakeology daily and that you are using your pre-workout and your post-workout to help you through your workouts and with your recovery. Because what you put in your body is at least as important as how you're moving your body. And frankly, the majority of the time, I think it's even more important, because you can focus on your nutrition without working out and lose weight and become healthier. If you're working out without focusing on your nutrition, you will see some changes to a point, but then you're going to plateau. You might even, your weight loss is going to stall, and you're more inclined to hurt yourself. You're just not going to see the progress, and you're going to be frustrated. You can get to the point, especially if you're dealing with lots of inflammation, that it's actually making pieces of that get worse. And so you're like, oh my gosh, I got to work out harder. I was talking to somebody, I kid you not, I was grocery shopping and exchanging messages with somebody while I was shopping. And she was like, it was working for a while and now it's not. And I feel like I'm always hungry. And if I don't basically starve myself and pound my cardio and do an extra workout, then I don't even lose weight, and I even gain weight. And even when I do that, sometimes I still don't lose. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are working against yourself. You're not eating enough. You're punishing your body, and you're miserable. How is that? How is that working for you? So I just can't encourage you enough that you have have to be focused on your nutrition. But that doesn't mean you have to be perfect, okay? But you need to ask yourself a question, because really your brain wants to answer a question. That's just how you're wired. And you have two choices. You can let your brain come up with its own questions, or you can give it questions to answer. So like letting your brain come up with its own questions, when you're having a crappy day and you start to spiral, letting your brain come up with its own questions to ask itself is how you get from one bad choice to I'll never succeed at anything in life, right? It's how when you have an unexpected bill, suddenly you have an unexpected bill that means you now can't spend as much at the grocery store, and you can't do this, you can't do this, and you can't do this, and suddenly your children are starving because you had an unexpected bill pop up in the mail, right? That kind of spiraling, and we all do it. I know because I do it. That just means your brain needs a new question. You're letting it run away with itself, and you need to just give it a new question to ask. Now, what does that have to do with your health and fitness? Give it a simple question. You can ask yourself, what one thing right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, what one thing right now would move me forward on my journey? Ask yourself, it's 8:52 at night. What one thing right now would move me forward on my journey? Having a little bit more water before I go to bed. Giving myself a bedtime, not staying up till midnight. Setting out my clothes for tomorrow morning, setting out my planner, looking at my planner now before I go to bed. Writing down, if you lay in bed and obsess about all the things that you need to get done, then before you go to bed, write down those 10 things that you find yourself obsessing about. So then you can be like, it's okay. I don't have to think about it. It's on my paper. I won't forget any of them. They're written down. And that's something that you can do instantly to create some more peace in your evening. Get some more sleep, feel better in the morning, right? Just ask yourself, what one thing would move my journey forward right now? Frankly, being on this call is part of it. Taking one thing away from this call. And frankly, you should always drink a glass of water when you ask yourself that question. So when it comes to what you need to do to set yourself up for success for this month is just getting back to basics. If you are brand new, then you need to watch the videos in your nutrition program. You need to set a timer on your phone to check in with your group every single day, at the very least for your daily accountability. Even if you didn't track a damn thing, check in with your group at the end of the day. Write down what you can remember and set out your tracker so that it's ready for you in the morning and you don't have to find it. But check in and encourage somebody else in your group who's checking in. Comment on somebody else's post, but set an alarm on your phone. I don't know what time the accountability posts go up in every single group because I'm not in every single group, but you do. You know what time the accountability post goes up, so set your alarm on your phone. If there's no accountability post in your group, make one. Who cares if your coach hasn't posted it yet? If you're ready to post your day, even if the accountability post hasn't gone up yet. Do it. Commit to that. It will make a difference. If you know you are showing up and posting regardless, you will have a better day. You just will, because you're aware of it. Hopefully you won't have a better day out of shame. Hopefully you'll have a better day out of desire. But frankly, if you just don't want to post that you ate a third cookie, that will keep you from eating that third cookie, and that's a win, right? Because that's a baby step. I also told you I'd talk to you tonight a little bit about when it comes to your family and getting your family on board. And the short answer on this one is you just have to start. It's really hard if you feel like your family or your spouse or the people around you, the people at work, the people you live with, you feel like they're doing the same thing as always and you're making this Herculean shift in your life. That is hard. But that's frankly why we formed these groups, because you are never alone in this journey. You might be alone in your home or in your work or in your group of friends on this journey. They might not be on board with it yet, but you are not ever alone. That's the whole point of the existence of these groups. You always have somewhere to tap into for encouragement when it's difficult. And your group is your group. You get to lean into it as much as you want. And if you want there to be a deep community in your group, you need to lean into it. You need to be part of creating that intimacy and connection in your group. And if you want it, you have to be willing to be part of creating it. But when it comes to your family, you just have to start. But I want to give you a few things to keep in mind, okay? You didn't get to the point of being ready overnight. And they might not get to the point of being ready overnight either. But that doesn't mean you have to wait for them. You just have to give them some gracious space and time to get there. And frankly, let them live in their doubt for a second. And if you have somebody who's just not convinced you're really going to stick with it this time, be a little bit stubborn about that and be willing to prove them wrong. Not like rub it in their faces or anything like I would, but like just be willing to say, I don't care what you think. I'm really committed to this. Because your wins and your progress will show them that it's worth the effort to try. Because you might have to be a little bit of a coach to your family for a while. You might have to give them, and I asked my husband, I said, I had some ideas about what I wanted to talk about, but I asked him, I said, what would you say to somebody who was struggling because their family wasn't on board yet? And he's the one who said, like, look, you might have to be a little bit of a coach to your family for a little while. You might have to be the one encouraging them or gently nudging them in a direction and be a bit of the example. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect, because part of what you want to teach people is that they don't have to be perfect. That there's still, I mean, we have a birthday in our house tomorrow, right? There will be birthday cake. We are not kale and ice chips kind of people. I will admit I'm doing a pretty intense diagnostic with my food right now to hone in on some inflammation issues that I'm having that are above and beyond things I've dealt with in the past. And so there are days I feel like a kale and ice chips kind of person right now. But my family knows that this is just a thing that I'm doing for a couple of weeks. I'm not punishing myself because I was bad. I'm not punishing myself to fit into a particular dress for an event. I'm trying to figure out what it is that's bothering my body. So I had to remove a lot of things and slowly introduce them again. And this was the very beginning of it. And so there were a lot of this week that wasn't fun. But they know, because they've been watching me, that this is not my life. My life is not misery when it comes to food. I just am eating a little differently than them this week, because I've been doing this long enough that they know that this is different than normal and why. But that was the thing that I wanted to say there, because there's 3 things really that I kind of came to that you can do with your family, right? You can, the first is know your plan. You have to know what you're doing. You need to mentally commit to your plan and stop saying try. You have to stop saying you're going to try to eat better. You're going to try to have more water. You're going to try. Stop saying that. Take that word out. Because who's more likely to succeed? The person who's trying to quit smoking, who when offered a cigarette says, I'm trying to quit, versus the person who says, I don't smoke anymore. No thanks, I don't smoke anymore. Who's going to be more successful? Who are you going to believe in their journey? You have to stop saying you're going to try. I'm going to try to work out 3 times this week. No, you're going to do it because you're going to honor yourself and your commitment to yourself. Forget your commitment to me. You're going to honor your commitment to yourself because you are worth that. The second thing that you can do when it comes to your family is tell someone. Commit to your plan and tell someone. Tell your coach and your family. Tell them what you're doing and why. Because what you do is very important, but why you do it is infinitely more so. And then the third thing is you need to be willing to tell your spouse and your family or your friends or whoever it is that you feel like is tripping you up a little bit, You need to be willing to tell them what you need. So I got to the point back at the beginning of my journey where I had said, okay, I'm ready to stop drinking soda. I had cut back, I had included more water and whatever. I'm ready to stop drinking soda. And my husband wasn't in the same place yet. And that was his journey. Sure, it would have been easier if he was also not drinking soda, but I can't control him, right? I was ready, and he would still bring, so I stopped buying soda. I was like, look, I'm not gonna buy it anymore. If you wanna have it, you can take care of that, but I'm not gonna buy it because then I will drink it. And he kept bringing it home. And so he would get a 2-liter over the weekend and have some, and then he'd leave for work on Monday and I'd drink the rest of the soda. And I had to tell him, I love you, and if you're not ready to stop drinking soda, I'm not going to tell you to, but you have to take that bottle of soda out of this house when you leave on Monday morning. Because I am not yet in a place where I can just not drink it. I'm just not there. I had to, what I said at the beginning, I had to know where I was. There are some foods, especially now, that I can have in the house and it's okay. And I can control myself around them. And there are some things that I couldn't, and I had to just not have them around for a while. And it is okay. Your children will survive if you stop buying Cheetos for a little while. They will. They will survive, especially if that's a particular thing that you can't control yourself around. So I had to say to him, like, look, you can't have soda or whatever it is for you, chips or whatever. And I also had to say, please don't bring me fill in the blank, even when I ask you for it, because I'm going to have a weak moment and I'm going to really want to. And he got tested about a week ago, because before I started this big diagnostic, I was like, you know what I really want? He's like, what? I said, I want soft pretzels with dippy cheese. I'm going to go big before we do this big diagnostic. And he's like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, no, I really want that. I want you to get some for me, because he was out. And he's like, no. And he looked at me, he's like, if you want that, you're going to have to go back out and get it. And he really knows the once I've taken my bra off, I'm not leaving the house again kind of policy that I have. And so I was like, oh, I was tempted. I was like, I really want that. But it was just me giving him permission to say no to me when I have a weak moment, because he knows me well enough and he knows how important this is, because I've told him and because I've made a commitment and because I've shown that I've made a commitment, right? You guys, you can do this. You can do this. The process is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You've got to give yourself a question, a brain. You've got to give your brain a question to answer. And you have to know what it is that you want to, like how, you have to know why you want to do it and what tools you're going to use to get there. But you really need to tell someone your plan, know what you want to do, and be willing to lean into the group to do it. In this day and age when everybody has cell phones that you can set 1 million alarms on, you can set yourself a reminder. But you guys, when you say, I don't have time, I don't have the resources, you really need to question why it is that you're saying that. And the last piece I want to leave you with is just, again, with your family. Don't throw out your family's favorite meal on day one. Don't catch yourself up and we're going to have this perfect meal plan. It's going to be completely all healthy and just perfect and no one's ever going to deviate from it and whatever, because then you turn into that meme that, have you seen that, where it's like Monday through Friday and it's like 3 healthy meals and like the second one is scratched out and it just says leftovers and the third one is like, screw it, let's order pizza. You know, like you're going to bail on the whole thing if you're trying to force yourself into perfection. So especially if you're just getting started, keep some of your family favorites and allow yourself to make baby steps. If your family always has pizza on Friday nights, then have pizza on Friday nights. And you know what? If you're just getting started, then pick a few nights to be really, really dialed in on your nutrition, and then enjoy your pizza with your family on Friday nights. Now, you might down the line get to the point where the way you feel on Saturday morning is not worth the pizza you had on Friday night, and you might make a change. One simple change that we made was we just started having salad with our pizzas. And so when I serve my kids are 13 and under. I have 6 of them. They're 13 down to 1.5. And when I serve their plates, I put a salad and a piece of pizza on their plate. And they weren't allowed to have more pizza until they had eaten their salad. They still had pizza. We still sat in the living room and watched a movie. And then what I had changed. So I started with two or three pieces of pizza and a salad. And then my salad got bigger and my pizza got smaller. And then I switched over to a different type of pizza. And then sometimes I don't have pizza. It all, like you will progress through that. But you know what? Those are wins. You went from pizza and soda and Cheetos, and you ordered the brownie pizza for dessert that you saved until the kids went to bed, and then you ate the whole thing, to now I have a piece of pizza and a giant salad. And I treat it like a treat, and I enjoy every bite of it, and I don't feel shame about it. That's an amazing progression. You have got to give yourself like the biggest high five about that, because that is a huge, huge change. And if anybody else were to tell you what they used to be and that's what they tell you they are now, you would high five the crap out of them. And you would recognize that as a win, and you need to recognize it in yourself. Same thing when you're starting out with your Shakeology. I don't care how you make your shake to start with. I don't care if you make it with milk. I don't care if you put peanut butter in it. I don't care. I had somebody tell me once that they put a pudding mix in with their Shakeology because that's what they needed at the beginning. Fine. But just drink your Shakeology. Drink it. Now, am I suggesting that you start making your shake that way? No, I am not. But if you are not drinking it and you get to the point that you are drinking it, that's a win. And you will start to feel better, and you will start to make increasingly healthy choices, increasing in number and increasing in quality, right? Have one more glass of water than you did last week. I was talking to somebody earlier and I said, she's not quite ready to join us yet. And I said, well, what can we do now to get started? How much water did you have today? And she's like, oh, none. So, well, why don't you get yourself a glass of water while we're talking? Have one more glass of water and increase that. And then look at your family favorites. What are some meals that your family regularly eats that you can clean up a little bit for your whole family? Honestly, my favorite clean meal now is tacos, because it is the easiest meal to have cleanly. We still have taco shells sometimes. I don't choose to have that now. But when we first started, we switched from taco shells to taco chips, which can be dangerous because you can tend to eat a lot more taco chips than you would taco shells, so you have to be careful. But I would serve my taco over a bed of greens and give myself a handful of taco chips. Okay, so is that to be compliant? Not technically for dinner, but it was a transition, right? And so it got my kids eating more vegetables, and it got me eating fewer crunchy things like taco shells and chips and all that kind of stuff. I had fewer of them. Because if I just gave myself 3 or 4 chips, I could feel the crunchy sensation that I was chasing, right? That carrots just didn't satisfy. And then you can lace your taco meat with vegetables so easily, it's not even funny. So we started putting cauliflower rice in with our tacos. I've done grated carrots in with taco meat, like mixed in with the meat, seasoned and everything. You can do it with shredded zucchini too. It doesn't change the taste of the meat. And if you keep it, I can get up to half and half with cauliflower rice, and it still tastes just like taco meat. The carrots, you can't do half and half with carrots, but you could shred, if you're making tacos and you have the meat, you could shred an awful lot of carrots in there before it doesn't feel like taco meat anymore, right? Same thing with burgers. You can clean up burgers like nobody's business. You can get creative with the veggies that you have on top of them. You can have an open face with just one bun. You can ditch the bun entirely. I've heard people talk about like burger salads now, that it's basically just it's just a salad, but they crumble up the burger on top of it, and they even put like pickles and ketchup and stuff on it. I haven't done that yet, but I have a friend who is like madly in love with that concept. Stir fries, super easy to clean up. Switch over to like coconut aminos or a gluten-free soy sauce, some things that's a little higher quality and use a little bit less of it. You can add all kinds of veggies to a stir fry and really clean it up. You can still have some rice, especially if you're following the Ultimate Portion Fix and you have yellow containers left over for the day. If you're a 2B mindset, you can either have that for lunch or you can have it over cauliflower or zucchini or just greens. And you get to the point where it's like, okay, that's okay if I didn't have rice for dinner tonight. I'll tell you, when I was doing 2B mindset and switching over, I would squirrel away a portion of whatever starch it was my family was having for dinner. Like if I made roasted potatoes and I'm like, those are my favorite thing on the planet, I would literally squirrel away a portion of it. And then I could say to myself, it's just like the brain dump list before you go to bed. I could say to myself, like, look, I don't have to have any potatoes at dinner tonight because look, I have this portion that I can have for lunch tomorrow. It'll be okay. No one will have it. My little ravenous wolves in my family will not eat my little portion of potatoes, and it will be safe for me for tomorrow for lunch. You can work your veggies in with every meal. I will tell you, I mix a lot of veggies in with what we eat, and people will call it like a sneaky veggie. But my kids see vegetables at almost every meal. We don't always have vegetables at breakfast because we're 2B mindsetters and you don't have to. Veggies at breakfast are extra credit. But they have veggies for lunch and dinner to the point now that if they're somewhere and they don't, they note it and talk about how weird it is. And then I wanted to show you my favorite cookbook. Can you guys see this or is it backwards? It's called Cook Once and Eat All Week. I love this cookbook. It is not a Beachbody product, but another friend of mine recommended it to me. It is fabulous. We've done several weeks out of it so far, and we've picked and chosen a handful of recipes outside of doing the whole week. It is phenomenal. It's clean. It's naturally gluten-free, which I just want to say being gluten-free doesn't automatically mean healthier. And we're not saying that everybody needs to be gluten-free, but the reason I recommended it is because it is a whole foods based cookbook and you can pick and choose which weeks serve you based on what your dietary needs are. We have had great success, and they're very simple recipes to make that are not weird and fussy. They're food that you recognize. It might push you a little bit if there's some things that you've never tried before, but it's phenomenal. And I just wanted to share that with you. I asked in my group, and I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I wanted to share a couple of answers when I asked in my challenge group, what were some things that tripped people up on their journey? And I got a couple of answers that were specific, some of them to them, but I think they're fairly universal. And I don't know if any of it applies to you or not, but I just wanted to share some of the answers. And I also have not read any of the chat, so I might have to go back. Kelly, if you see something in the chat that I need to talk about, will you let me know? When I asked people what trips them up, I had several different comments. I had people who said like late night eating is really hard. And my answer to that is make a commitment to do it one night fewer. Just say, you know what, this week, I'm not going to eat late on Wednesdays. I'm not going to worry about the rest of the week this week, but Wednesday night, I am committed to dinner and done, period. And make that commitment and don't say try. But the other thing you can do is commit to posting in your group every time you eat after dinner. Commit to posting in your group. I'll bet you'll do it less. If you're serious about not wanting to do it, commit. And frankly, go to bed. Most of the people I talk to who talk about late night eating, they're eating at like 11:30 at night. Like, dude, go to bed. You need to, I mean, kids are not the only one who need bedtime. Brush your teeth definitely helps. Brush your teeth and have a glass of water definitely helps. But seriously, the majority of us, we just need to go to bed. We stay up too late, and even if you call yourself a night owl, you're not really all that productive that late at night. Because frankly, if you're like painting the whole second floor of your house, you're probably not eating anyway. You know what I mean? If you really truly are productive, if you really truly are working or doing something or getting stuff done in your house, you're not sitting around mindlessly eating, watching television. Somebody said that what got in their way was themselves. And I'm going to say on that one, that strikes at a feeling of worthiness, that you don't feel like you're worthy of taking the care. And that could be a personal development situation, but also set an alarm and commit to posting in your group. And let the other people in your group encourage you and build you up. If lack of planning is a struggle, use the meal plan that we share. Ask people in your group what they're having for dinner that week. If people in your group don't share their meal plans, start that thread. Start the thread. Ask people what they're doing and use it. Or frankly, if you have children who are over the age of, well, if they can talk, have them help you plan meals. Seriously, I have basically outsourced meal planning to my 10-year-old. I mean, she'll be 11 tomorrow, but like, and you got to give them guidelines, because I was talking to somebody else and they're like, my kids would plan macaroni and cheese and hot dogs every night. I'm like, okay, so let them have that once. Tell them that they get 2 nights a week that they can make something that's junk, and the rest of the week has to be something that would be considered healthy. And then you have an opportunity to talk to them about what's considered healthy. Or give them like a diagram. You have to, my kids know, they start making lunch pretty young, and they know that they have to have a protein, a veggie, and something crunchy, because it's usually like pretzels or rice cake or whatever. Like they know what has to go into their lunch. If you just have life chaos, you need to pick your best day in your life chaos and make your plan that day and stock up on simple things and keep less desirable things out of your house. That might be a season where you just have to keep stuff out of your house. And then one person said time management. But I got to tell you, you just have to home in on what's important to you. You will always make time for what's important to you. If your answer to anything is, I just don't have time, what you're really saying is, that's not a priority in my life. Because you don't not have time to take someone to the hospital who slices their finger off. I mean, I joke about that with my kids when they're screwing around. I'm like, look, I don't have time to take you to the hospital right now. Quit screwing around. But like, really, obviously, if someone really needed to go to the hospital, you would figure out a way in your busiest day to make that happen. And I know it's extreme, but like, you've heard people say, like, where there's a will, there's 100 ways. You will make a way to do the things that are important to you. You will. And you need to ask yourself before you go to bed at that earlier bedtime, what do I need to do before I go to bed? What would set myself up for success tomorrow? What really does need to be done tonight? And what can wait? Every single one of these things comes down to knowing why you do this. Yes, weight loss. Yes, living longer. Yes, playing with your kids. But every parent wants to spare their kids from pain and give them an amazing life. And so for me, the reason I do this is because I want to spare my kids from having to go through this when they're 40. The food issues, the weight issues, the chronic health issues, feelings of worthlessness, I want to spare them that. And so when it gets hard, when I really just want to bag it, especially right now doing this diagnostic so that I can get to the bottom of what is bothering my body, just losing weight, even just feeling better. Sometimes it just isn't enough right in that moment. You really have to tap into what it is that's important to you and why you started on this journey. But guys, you've got this. The reason this community exists is because you are never alone in this journey. You are never alone in this journey. You always have people doing it with you. So that's all I've got for you tonight. If anything comes up and you have an issue that you want to ask about, if you're not in my group, you can ask your coach. I mean, you don't have to ask me directly. You've got plenty of people who are in your groups that you care about, but you certainly can ask me directly. You certainly can get a hold of me through your coach if you have something that you'd love a tip on. But you guys, you just have to create the community that you want to be part of in your group. If you want to have a community that shares recipes every Tuesday, then start sharing a recipe. Google something that you want to try. Challenge somebody in your group. And I can't say this enough. Go into that membership list of your group and find somebody who's kind of disappeared and invite them back. And make it a warm and welcoming place for them. And that will increase your feelings of connectivity to the group itself. Thank you. Kelly, do you have anything before we go?
No, that was great. I'm glad you mentioned that cookbook too, because I'm loving it. And I mean, if you feel like you have to follow the rules of it, like I'm doing week 3 this week and I did week 1 last week. Like, but what I like is
we haven't gone in order. I gave it to my 10-year-old and I said, what looks good? Pick 2 weeks.
And it gives me a basic idea of new things to try, because we got in a rut and I got tired of making the same stuff all the time. And when you're not excited about dinner, your kids don't get very excited. Like, even sometimes when you are excited, they don't get excited too, don't get me wrong. But like, I made this casserole that had rice, but you riced broccoli and mixed it with the rice, and it had barbecue chicken on top.
Ooh,
and then
what week was that?
1.
We clearly haven't done week 1 yet.
And I just made it, and I have really picky eaters, and no one complained. And some of them ate the broccoli with the rice, and some of them ate the chicken off the top and took a bite and didn't. But it was one of those things I was like, I knew in my head, like, this is not going to work. And it worked. So my point is, like Sarah said, it's just, I love the tips were really good. But it's a great, if you feel like you're in a funk, it's not like some cookbooks that I've gotten that are super complicated and the recipes are like ingredients that.
It's all normal food. It's really the most normal food. But I'm with you. I felt like we were cooking the same 6 things over and over again, and I couldn't even think of anything else I wanted to try.
The other part that's really great is she teaches you how to prep things in about an hour on a Sunday. So I did that last week because we didn't have our kitchen because we had to remodel, fix it. And so I cooked all of the chicken in my Instant Pot and all of the rice and all of the broccoli in advance, which I've never done all of it. And so dinner every night took 20 minutes. Yeah. And I don't prep all of the things because it seems like too much. But when you have 3 meals that are coming from this chicken, it's just a no-brainer. And so instead of one of the meals, I use the chicken for tacos because we always have tacos. My kids, it's like their favorite night. But I really recommend that book. Like, I have a ton of cookbooks for aesthetics because I think they look pretty on my shelf. I don't use them, but this one, I use it a lot already. So
it's laid out well too. Yeah. It's just really good.
And like, my kids could even make some of the food, and my kids don't cook regularly. I was thinking I should probably start helping them do that. But do you want to close us in prayer?
Sure. Let's pray. God, you are so good. Regardless of our situations, regardless of our struggles, you are good. You are constant. You are steadfast. You are present. You are available. You are loving. You are with us and within us and around us. You are before us and behind us and alongside us. Thank you for this opportunity to get together tonight. Please remind us of our worthiness, simply as the result of being loved into existence for a purpose. Please speak a little louder than your whisper this week and remind us of our worthiness. Remind us of the wins we're experiencing and the blessing of the struggles that we are going through, that we are facing. Give us the questions to ask so that we can find the answers. Thank you for the people who've said yes to this community and who've given up their time in their commitment to learn and to be better and to grow. Please bless and multiply those efforts. Give us peace regardless of our circumstance. That peace is a gift from you and not of our own making. Lord, we love you and we honor you. We adore you and we worship you, and we come together in your name, which makes this a place for you to reside. Please bless our efforts, multiply our sleep and our patience, and give us solutions to our concerns this week. We love you, Lord, and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have an amazing week. Take care.